Good morning, bows and bow ties. So look, you see, can you guys see me okay? All right, so look, is this the right angle? I'm trying to get, okay, I don't know. Is this good? What is happening right now? All right, so look, I had a good little run. I had a good run. I had no shenanigans for a while in terms of what was in my feed. I was getting nice videos on my lions. Maxwell the cat, for those of you who know, Maxwell the cat is out here thugging in these streets. You got Mr. Kittens, everything. We got a lot going on, right? Like some good stuff. Of course, we got the pop the balloon stuff that shows up. But I've been getting a lot of my sports stuff, right? And I say all this to just I just want you guys to know it was nice. I had a nice little run. I didn't have a whole lot of angry women that look like me talking about why they hate men and all this other stuff, and the angry men talking about why women are modern and that modern is bad. And all. I'm tired of hearing about it. Like, talk about something else. But you got me. There was a guy that was out here in these streets on the internet and came in my feed and he started complaining about modern women. I was like, this guy is a loser. But it hit me, because you hear the same rhetoric. And I'm like, man, what do y'all want? I don't think you really know what you want. You don't know what you want. You don't know what you want. You're just so unhappy that you want to put your misery or make someone else accountable for your own misery. Now, we like to get on women for a lot of things. And look, we got our own mess. Women, we have our own mess, but the men out here in these streets, let me tell you, I'm beginning to think like y'all are hopeless. Like, there needs to be a national sit on someone's couch day, and it needs to be done en masse. Because I don't understand why men like getting on the internet. I'm picking on the men today. Why do y'all like getting on the internet and talk about these modern women? They got all their degrees. I'm like, when is education bad? And then they think we're supposed to care. And I'm like, you should care. You should care that you don't have them. But then they start talking about like modern women are too independent. And then people want to split hairs on what it means to be independent and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, let me get this right. You don't want a modern woman, but you don't want to take care of one. I'm just trying to understand. Asking for a friend. Now, granted, I don't have a dog in a fight, right? I'm not looking for a mate. I have my mate, right? But to me, these conversations are so like, aren't you guys tired? Now, look, I'm probably going to go through a bad area because I did not want to hop on the highway, taking a couple of back roads, the scenic route, because that's the mood that I'm in. So I don't feel like fooling with the highway today until I have to. So look, and it's so pretty back here, even though you guys can't get the full view, just getting the side of the road. It's gorgeous. Anyway, I'm just like, what do y'all want? You don't want a modern woman, but you don't want to take care of a woman in a very traditional sense. It doesn't make sense. You don't appreciate women being educated, but you make fun of women who aren't that bright. You want to bring them on these podcasts and take shots at women who really should not be the ones up there representing the collective, right? They find the most vulnerable, silly acting women, put them on these panels and stuff. I'm like, you've got these men complaining about women, and now they're not complaining about themselves. They're not fixing themselves. They're not solving problems. Solve problems. I don't understand this. Like I said, I'm making fun of the men today because I'll get on women sometimes when they start complaining about single women, married women, whatever. But I don't understand why men choose to get on the internet and continue to whine and cry about modern women. If that is all you're talking about, that lets me know you have nothing going on. It is so embarrassing. I mean, the secondhand embarrassment, I mean, that's why I was like, when I opened up my feed and I had my nice little run of the lions and then the cats and the dogs and sports and when I get a lot of sports stuff. And I'm like, for this to come back up in my feed, and I was like, let me listen. And you know what? I deserved to be annoyed because I shone so light. See, I got exactly what I deserve. I was like, this guy. I don't even know who it was. I was like, move on. The point I'm making is, I don't understand. Like, I got on the women for their shenanigans. Why men get on the internet and complain about women? I'm like, men are so hyper focused on women, at least the ones that look like me. And I'm just kind of like, I am embarrassed for you because it's so telling. Because to me, I'm like, you have nothing else going on. When you have other things going on, when you have a focus, when you have a priority, the things, you let other things go. But the thing that tickles me the most is like when people talk about these so-called modern women, the very women that they claim they don't want, that they chase after, the ones that they don't want, I'm like, well, I don't, you should want a modern woman because you don't want to take care of one in the traditional sense, right? So I'm like, what do you want? You don't want a modern woman, but you don't want to take care of one. You don't like the fact that these modern women are talking about their degrees and education, but the ones that you seem to make fun of the most are the dum-dums that you bring up on those panels. The ones that can't intelligently speak to anything. You don't want to take care of anyone. You're complaining about everything. You hold on to things that don't matter. You have these weird values. You want all these things. And like, when the fact of the matter is, I don't see anybody breaking chains from the learned helplessness that I see happening all the time. I don't see any of these men creating things, solving problems, coming up with solutions. And let me tell you something. I want you to listen to this. And you guys have heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again. Now, listen. I shared with my son, who's in college, about why it's important to be educated. I said, one, it's hard to change something when you don't understand what the problems are. So you go to school, not to say that you have to go to school for everything, but the value of going to school is to learn about systems. There's education systems, social systems, medical systems. Your body is a system. You've got computer systems, economic systems. There's all kinds of systems. And there's various methodologies for how you can solve some of these problems. And a lot of people who seem to get it understand that many of these things are intersectional. They do relate to each other. Economic systems can have an impact on your body, your medical system. Economic systems can have an impact on social systems. It boggles the mind that, to me, there appears to be this war on intellectualism. There appears to be a war on being educated. So when I listen to some of these whacked out weirdo men that I call the wows, well, anybody that's a whacked out weirdo is a wow. I'm like, what about this makes sense? Like, when you woke up and you decided to go on these diatribes about education or whatever, and I'm just kind of like, you did you really mean that? Did you plan to wake up and say these such things? I don't think the men today know what they really want, other than a servant. I don't think many of the men today like women. They'll do them, but they don't like women. They don't like, they just want to be around men. Hey, knock yourself out. But they don't like women as people because they don't choose to engage with women and explore their humanity. We got some crazy feminists out there too who act like that towards men, but that's a different conversation. But we're talking about you whacked out weirdo men today. I'm like, I don't understand why you would want to get on the internet and complain about modern women and talk about things like they're so independent, as if independence is a bad thing. Let me break it down to you. When I met my husband, I was a highly independent person. It doesn't mean that I didn't want someone to take care of me and do all these other things. But I was also capable of doing such things on my own. So if something should ever happen to my husband, he knows I have it. And you know what he also did? He made sure that we were set up. Most of the men I know that are high earners, like the real ones that are real men, not the ones who are like cosplaying as men. Um, Let me tell you something. It is like almost like a badge of honor for them to be like, yeah, I take care of my wife. I take care of her. Like not in the sense of monetary, but basically like I got it. Like they are leading that family. Heck, if they can retire their high earning wife, like especially those that are out there in Silicon Valley and stuff like that. And I keep telling some of these whacked out weirdos, I'm like, look, a lot of these men who are making millions, let me tell you, look who they go after. Educated women. You know why? Because women help promote their legacy, dum dums. They're the ones that pass down the information from these high earning men to their children. They carry out that legacy. Women carry that legacy. They push or they help push that legacy through the children. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, and I listen to these men out here, like these modern women. Remember, these men, your Google dudes and stuff like that. A lot of these men, all these like people who are high earners, even the one. Okay, let me dumb it down for a second. All you got to do is go to any SEC school and look at who's in these sororities and fraternities. Now, pay attention. Learn something today. When you look at who's in these sororities and their specific ones, these men like to end up with those types of chicks. They keep that money within certain families. And remember, the chicks still come out with an education. Now, some of them are going to be like super smart women. Some of them might be like, but it doesn't matter. They went and got educated. And then they keep all that within certain families, right? And what is going on here? So while these men that look like me are out here talking and sounding crazy about women with these degrees, I'm like, the ones who are successful, go get women with degrees. But anyway, I don't think you men know what you really want. You don't. Because y'all say some of the wildest stuff. The only thing you want is for someone to do something for you. Instead of actually having a partner, someone that you get to hee haw with when something is funny. I'm just kind of like, I don't understand. I don't know what is going on, but I really think it needs to be a national holiday where they're like, we need all the whacked out weirdos. This is the national sit on someone's couch day, and y'all need to talk about some stuff. A lot of it's unresolved trauma from not having a daddy in their life, so they get mad at their mom, right? There's a lot of that going on, and it's just weird. So a lot of times I will use myself as an example. And look, maybe it makes me a pick me. I don't know. But I always tell people, I'm like, wait a second, you're talking about all these so-called independent women. And I'm like, I don't think that they understand what they're really saying. And they will argue with you. They will, and you know, I don't argue. I'm not arguing with the dude, but I'm like, okay, do what you want. They will sit there and defend to the death. I've got men, I've had a guy talk to me about men being a prize. I mean, these are, and I clown him and question him like, are you sitting around with a bunch of men talking about men being a prize? I just want to make sure I'm clear. I want to be clear. You sat down and had a conversation with a bunch of so-called grown men about why you guys are the prize? I'm like, that lets me know there's no hope for our youth. I'm like, if that's what you're talking about, I'm just saying. Okay, so like, I don't like this lane that I'm in. I mean, like, this lane's got me like crawling at like 2 miles an hour. I'm not a fan of this lane. And that other lane is only doing about five. I'm like, well, five is better than two. Mm. Anyway, so getting back to the point where I was making was this man came on my feed and I was kind of like irritated because I'm like, oh, I had a good run without the shenanigans. And I was the dumb dumb who listened to the man crying and whining about modern women and I don't know. I mean, you know, because my ADD kicks in and I'm like, okay. I didn't even listen to the whole thing. I listened to some of it and I was like, oh, poor fella. He's so conquered. All right, so look, I don't think y'all know what you want. I don't think you understand anything. I think y'all need to get off of some of these apps and go back to the old school way of talking to people and dating people. Like, leave your home, go talk to somebody, get to know people, find out if you have like things. Stop trying to be so hard all the time. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Laugh from the belly, from the gut. Laugh from the gut. Laugh all the way from the gut. You know, go out there and just be vulnerable, and it may not work out and it may work out, and try things, and live. But to have all of these shackles that you put upon yourself and have this ridiculous, how is that working out for you? Is it working? Are you happy? Because what you're doing, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. I had a conversation with a man older than me. I'm 48. And he was talking about how that he can't deal with these American women. This was recent. This was about a year ago, a week ago. He can't deal. He said he can't deal with these American women, and he's gonna go over in Europe and deal with the women there. And I paused for a second, and I was like, I don't even know where to take this. So I just said, wait a second. Are they all the same age? Yes, they're 30 somethings. And I'm like, so then I was already thinking, okay, well, he's 50 something and he's chasing 30 something. That's a whole other conversation that I've had. But I said, okay, so the American women in their Western ways. It was like, but Europe is considered Western unless you're talking about Eastern Europe. And even still, I think they might, depending on who you talk to, be considered Western. He paused. I was like, so for the sake of discussion, let's say you're tired of these 35-year-old women here in the United States. They're single, right? He's like, yeah, yeah, they're single. And these are educated women. They're lawyers and this, that, and the other. I was like, okay. So there's something wrong with the single 35-year-old woman here, but there's nothing wrong with a single 35-year-old woman in Europe. Now, here I am caping for single women. Now, I don't like to cape for the single woman because they stay coming for married women, right? But, something in me says, like, I can't have you attacking women. And he's like, and he paused, and I was like, that never occurred to you? Why are they single over there in Europe, which is also Western? It's just they're on a different continent. But I'm just saying, inquiring minds want to know. And I'm like, and why does it mean that there's something wrong with them? Why can't it just be that they just haven't found somebody? What's wrong with you? Why are you chasing that? And then we went to this whole other conversation. And the point I'm making is, I'm like, y'all don't know what you really want. It's like there's always a problem with everyone. It could never be you. You can't be satisfied. You don't know what you want. Because I don't think you're settled within yourself. You're not. Okay, my little bun is giving me a headache. It's too tight. Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, I loosened it a little bit. So anyway, let me just stop talking and figure out how I can get. I hate being on this route. I'm like, so I need to just. Y'all need to figure it out. Let me just get off. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or comments or anything like that, but leave it. Just don't be disrespectful. I don't care if you disagree with me. Leave it. Leave your thoughts. Leave your comments. Doesn't matter. I mean, everybody's just talking. Just don't be disrespectful. Because if I'm not disrespectful to you, don't be disrespectful to me. Dialogue is good, even when it's contrary to each other, right? Dialogue is good sometimes until it becomes like true dumb dumb, like until you like ignore facts. But all right, I need to figure out how I'm going to get out of this traffic, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get out of this traffic. This is going to delay me by a good 10 minutes, maybe not. Oh, it's moving up there. All right, so let me know what you guys think. I think I'll be able to get to work actually on time. Let me know what you think. Let me know. You know what? If there's something that you want me to talk about, let me know. I mean, I like to get on a woman too sometimes because some of these women are out here on some other kind of stuff. They are just really psycho, really psycho. I'm like, you need help. But anyway, I was just getting on the men today because it was just the most ridiculous conversation. And all of y'all like to sit there and like big each other up and hype each other up and bring these like weirdo women on these panels who were like, yeah, because in that one time I was talking to my mother, I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm like, I don't even know what she's saying right now. I don't even care if it was like some split verbs or anything. Just makes sense. Makes sense. That's the kind of women that they bring up there who are saying things like, well, I can be a better woman to him than his wife and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, wait, what? All right, let me get off. I'm rambling.